In the 1980s, the CIA spent over $20 billion on a single covert war. It was the perfect plan, until the freedom fighters they funded turned their guns back on the world. This isn't just history. This is the story of how America's greatest Cold War victory sowed the seed for its greatest 21st century tragedy. The enemy of my enemy. December 1979. The Soviet Union invades Afghanistan. To the US, this is more than an invasion. It's a red move in the great Game of Thrones called the Cold War. National Security Advisor Zbigniew Brzezinski saw a golden opportunity. He famously said, "Now we can give the USSR its Vietnam War." The plan was codenamed Operation Cyclone. The goal: fund any and every group willing to kill a Soviet soldier. The Charlie Wilson treatment. The operation started small, but it found a champion in a Texas congressman named Charlie Wilson. He loved a good fight. He famously lobbied Congress, saying the U.S. had no business losing the Cold War. Money poured in. We're talking billions. The CIA, working with Pakistan's ISI, didn't just send guns. They sent the best. They sent the FIM-92 Stinger, heat-seeking missile that could take down a sophisticated Soviet gunship. To the Mujahideen, it was a gift from God. To the Soviet pilots, it was a nightmare. Mission accomplished. And the plan worked. The Stinger changed the war. Soviet losses mounted. The Vietnam trap snapped shut. By 1989, the humiliated Mikhail Gorbachev pulled the last Soviet soldier out of Afghanistan. The Cold War was effectively over. The U.S. had won. Charlie Wilson got a standing ovation. The CIA celebrated its most successful covert operation ever. And then, everyone went home. The blowback. But what happens after the war? You just flooded one of the most unstable regions on Earth with billions in cash and high-tech weapons. You've trained thousands of men in guerrilla warfare. And you left them in a power vacuum. Freedom fighters didn't just put down their guns and become farmers. They started fighting each other. This was the birth of the Afghan Civil War. And worse, a young Saudi volunteer who'd been radicalized during the war saw a new opportunity. His name was Osama bin Laden. The fatal irony. Bin Laden and his new group, Al-Qaeda, the base, had a new enemy. They had seen a superpower, the USSR, defeated. Now they set their sights on the other superpower, the USA. The fatal miscalculation was this. The CIA believed, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. They forgot the second half of that proverb, till he is no longer your friend. The training manuals the CIA provided were used to train terrorists. The networks they built were used to attack U.S. embassies. And the Stinger missiles. The U.S. government had to launch buyback programs, desperately trying to get their own high-tech weapons off the black market. The lesson. The legacy of Operation Cyclone is the definition of blowback. When you arm chaos, you don't get to choose who it consumes. The U.S. wanted to bleed the Soviet bare. They succeeded, but in doing so, they raised a generation of scorpions and handed them the stingers.